Face-to-face businesses and the people they employ are still struggling as we hopefully enter the final stretch of the pandemic in western Montana. And the latest data from the Bureau of Business and Economic Research at the University of Montana is showing some deeper long-term challenges needing some attention, as Dennis Bragg reports.
While the newly released economic forecast from the BBER shows resiliency for Missoula and bright spots like tech growth and construction, the numbers also show some soft spots. During this week's economic summit, Missoula Economic Partnership CEO Grant Keir says face-to-face operations like bars and restaurants have been on a business roller coaster, especially last fall when rising COVID case numbers and bad weather stalled the earlier recovery.
We had that moment where we had that huge October storm, and that just changed the game for many folks who were offering services on their patios and outdoors, where suddenly nobody was coming out, nobody was willing to eat outside. And I think it was at that real moment that we saw the transition from people barely able to eke by to really past their PPP funding without much help and really under dire stress for their local businesses.
But the stress isn't just at work. Keir says as many as 1 in 5 parents have had to work at home while caring for children under age 13, some spending 4 to 8 hours per day juggling priorities, a situation made worse with the loss of child care operators.
I think we saw some real drop in productivity in the community and a huge increase in fatigue, stress, anxiety. I think those things have had a real impact on people's tolerance and ability to sort of weather the economy over this past year.
However, there are some strange numbers at play, such as the artificial boost we got from all those stimulus checks.
When you look at the money that came into the state from the CARES Act, it really solidified income, both for consumers and for businesses.
And that shows up in the data for some of western Montana's smaller counties, too. Ravalli County shows a sharp drop in employment starting last spring, but an artificial offset because people receive stimulus checks and other assistance.
Which did show up as a wage decline in Ravalli County with a rebound after that point. And finally, you see this personal income swing that's a huge increase in personal income in year 2020 that wasn't driven by what was happening in the job market. It was driven more by federal transfers.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
While Keir says Missoula has had some of the best recovery in the state, he says the community does have to work on some serious issues, including the loss of child care providers, the churn of people moving from job to job, and especially the growing lack of affordable housing.